That was cool. Hello. I can't hear you guys though. I literally can't see the Twitch notifications. So if you guys subscribe or bit, I have nothing. So we're just gonna move this over here so I can actually see this. I have my notebook, I have my pen, and my water bottle, and my socks. So we should be all good. Yeah. Okay, good to see everybody. Cager, Baggins, Rollout Noob, Prime, hello. Baggins, thank you for the sub, 34 months, good to see you, mate. Prime, Happy New Year, Weeb, shut your mouth. 38 months though, so I have to be a little bit nice to you. 3 years, that's a lot of cash. Team Perp, hello. Baron of Goo. But yeah, good to see everybody. Apollo Gaming, good to see everybody. Yeah, so actually I should also do this on, wait, can I do this on Twitter too? Give me 1 second, chat. Oh, I can. Ha ha ha. Give me a second. Things gonna carry you. And an IRL update. Okay. There's the tweet. Okay. But yeah, good to see everybody. Happy New Year. Hope everyone had a good one. Take a second real quick if you guys haven't already. Take a second to send Flats Overwatch, Flats at Overwatch, a nice message. His father just died, I believe, this morning or last night. So obviously really, really sad. Please take the time to send him a message and make sure, just, even if you don't know the guy, just send him a nice message. It's just obviously not a terrible way to start off the new year. You're the guy that asked about Gator. Oh, yeah. That was a good question. A good question. It's funny how, I've officially reached the point, I feel like, where I have a decent enough understanding of Overwatch, where when people ask me questions about players, I understand the weakness of how knowledge alone isn't really good enough because I haven't studied that player. So I'm really confident, but I'm confident enough to know that I don't know anything about Gator, basically, or not enough to know to answer the question in full about Gator. But yeah, so here's the deal. So here's the little status update of what we're gonna be doing today. Life update. We're gonna be doing some Ask Spilo, and then we're gonna be doing the 3 things that I think are going to carry over from Overwatch 1 to Overwatch 2, because I was thinking about this the other day, what are some things, actually, you know what sparked this thought process is I was playing a little bit of Halo Infinite a couple weeks ago, and I was thinking, what's going to carry over from this game to the next game, and I had some ideas of, what would actually, what things I was doing well in Halo 1 that are oh man, I just know this from Overwatch, and so I was thinking, what if we did that with, Overwatch 2? What if we thought about it with Overwatch 2 in terms of what's important in Overwatch 1, and even if it's 5v5, even if ultimates work differently, hey, Amari, come here. My cat's over here. That's gonna all change, so that's gonna be nice. So trying to figure out what we could do, what can you prepare for, what can you focus on for Overwatch 1 that's not gonna screw you over in Overwatch 2 when everything's completely different. But yeah, if you guys have any just general questions right now would be the idea, or now would be the time. I'll thank you for the tea.
It's a Paris mug.
Paris mug, perfect. So yeah, we have clearly our full streaming setup here, pen and paper. My cat is over here, you guys, and she is looking outside.
I'll get her.
Right now, so this is the best part. I need to do more arm swings for more wins. Oh yeah, arm swings, everybody. Hug yourself, good back and forth, good arm circle forward. That was our little routine. No. It was Molfig was saying. Molfig was saying that need to do more arm swings, like what we did for London. Yeah, exactly. More wins. Hope you're doing well, Molf. I was actually just about to send you a message today.
She's
hey,
scared.
Don't be ugly. So yeah, the best part about this, chat, I'm about to make an admission. I should be looking here, not looking at the thing, okay? I'm going to make an admission. I am, unironically, in my parents' basement. And I can explain, but you guys are going to have to be patient. Hey, Carter, want to get... yeah, no, I don't want to do that, though. But thank you, Carter. Hope your programming is going well. So here's the deal. I am in my parents' basement. Let's give this a quick 180 here. Yeah, so there's the fireplace. That is where I sleep over there. Yep. And then there's Pepper. Hey, Pepper. Wave hi, Pepper. There she is. Okay. And then this is where we enter. This is a massive screen, and this is me. So I am in my parents' basement. Okay, so here's the deal. Most of you guys know, if you're paying attention, that we were moving to North Carolina / South Carolina, the general area. Okay? And that's still the case. In fact, we have, I can say this, right? We found a house, right, Beth?
Yeah.
We found a house. Okay? Problem is, we can't close in a house. Now, my mother, who is great and loves us very much, is
Us.
thrilled that we've been stuck here for like the last month. She's thrilled. In fact, I think she would prefer it this way. Literally, we came in at like, what was it, like 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. when we got here.
Story about what happened?
Oh yeah, so here's the full story actually. So this was about a month ago, a little over a month ago. We were driving down from New Hampshire to North Carolina. Hey Nia. Yeah, hot parents are back. And it's like a 20-something hour drive. The cat craps herself like 5 hours in, so we have to throw out that, and that was bad enough. And then we cleaned it all up, and it was fine. Okay, and then we're going, and we ended up like, we're almost there. We're almost to North Carolina. We're literally like what, an hour away probably? We're like an hour away. This stupid deer, it's like pitch black, the road's completely empty, decides, like, and there's a street light, and I've got my high beams on, decides it's not only going to stand in the middle of the road, no, that would be too, like, relatively reasonable. It was going to run in front of the vehicle. It was already on the road, and instead of staying just in lane, it runs directly in front of me. And so I'm going like 60, and I avoid it, and we smash the side of the car. Like, it was great. It was great fun. So we pull over.
It was not great fun.
It was not great fun. Everything's fine. Everyone is fine. But now we have no car. Now here's the best part about all this. So we're closing on our condo. We sold our condo. Great. Was happy. Was fun. Went for a good price. We're very happy. We have officially found a house. Right? We're looking for houses. We're finding houses. What else was going on at the same time? I feel like there's something else going on at the same time. I don't remember. But general like work and stuff like that. Good. And the other thing is we're trying to replace our stupid car and get the insurance for the stupid car thing figured out. Okay?
Can you talk about insurance?
Because we had insurance.
Insurance.
We had insurance. We had insurance. So the best part is that this stupid insurance company, I'm not going to say who or what, it has been what now, 6 weeks? Maybe not 6 weeks.
It has been
over 5.
Hang on, wait. The accident was on November 19th.
Yep.
So it has been a month.
Yep.
It's almost been 3 months.
Almost. Not 3 months.
Well, in another like 2 weeks, it'll have been 3 months. Because it's January. On 19 more days, it'll be 3 months.
It's only been 2 months. It was on November 19th.
I'm rounding up.
Okay. She's rounding up an entire month. Okay. Yeah. So it's been like 6 weeks, and we still don't have a car, and we still don't have a check for a car.
We lost our car.
They literally, I'm not joking, guys. They lost our car. So because we got super lucky with the deer. I managed to avoid it going through the windshield because I have superhuman reflexes. And then I pull in. My mom drives from wherever they live, comes picks us up. We load all our stuff. We had like nothing, and then we drive home, and then drive to home, right? And it was fine. Everything was fine. Nobody was injured. Nothing hurt, and nothing medical. It was great. I mean, I'm literally built of steel, so it was okay. But the sad thing is we're literally, our little car, smashed up sweet little car, is at a rest stop. And it's right there. We told them where it is. I mean, we're on this literally the next morning we're on this. And
Do you want to just...
And we're like, listen, this is what happened. I'm like, okay, and they're playing telephone. And I really don't want to get into the details. It's like, it's too much. Basically, the TLDR is that we have been literally super prompt responding. This is where it is. This is what happened. We'll go there, notarizing things. We went down there and we got this. We did this. We got the keys. We did that. And chat, they lost the car. We called the rest stop, said this is going to be towed. They told us in like 2 or 3 days. It still wasn't towed. The tow guy calls us, doesn't end up towing it. I still don't understand why that happened.
Yeah.
And they literally called us like, oh, we're on the way to tow it. Didn't happen. It's still there. And in fact, what was it, about a week ago. So this is 4.5 weeks after we wrecked the car. We get a phone call. We're in the South. Hey there, my name's Jake Chadwick. I'm here at the rest stop where I was told there was going to be a white vehicle, and there does not appear to be a vehicle there. Gee. Like 5 weeks after the accident. Yeah, no crap. The rest stop is probably like, what's going on here? Highway patrol probably is like, all right, I guess so we don't know where our car is. And we're still getting reimbursed for it, but it was hilarious. It was absolutely, the best part about this is the lady who we have been in contact with repeatedly telling her, this is where it is, this is what's happened, we need you to come get it.
Please tow it.
Literally, 4 or 5 days ago, message us and be like, hey, do you guys know where the car is? We would really appreciate if you guys let us know where the car is. I don't know. So,
right?
Yeah.
Look at your little rabbit foot. Look.
Yeah, the deer joyriding. Yeah, so that's been an absolute disaster. It's been a fun ride in like corporate incompetence. But,
and I emailed the appraiser or whatever because I was like, whatever, I don't care if they lost the car, I just want our settlement. So I was like, hey, we gave the title and the POA. Are we getting our settlement? He's like, did you mail it in? I'm like, yeah, I remember a week ago when I emailed you saying, hey, I mailed it in. Start the process. Please give us money.
Yeah, so that was that. I'll catch up in chat really fast, but yeah, Happy New Year, everybody. Good to see everybody. Emma, good to see you.
They also overcharged us on closing costs when we sold our condo.
Oh yeah, that's been a whole nother
And
thing.
they were like, yeah, we're gonna overnight a check. You just have to fill out a W-9, and I was like, why do I have to fill out a W-9?
It's been a disaster.
But then I was like, oh, maybe they meant wire because we didn't get a check. And so then like a week later, I still hadn't heard from them, so I had to message them. I was like, hey, are we getting a check? And they're like, yeah, I'm not sure. Let me check and find out. And we just got the check yesterday. It's been like 2 weeks.
And there's been a delay or a goof up with basically everything. So thank you for calling my cat Cute Carter. Good to see you. Hey, Weegener. Managed to climb to High Masters with Ryan. Nice work. Neo, thank you for the sub. Savage Drum, thank you for the sub. 15. Happy New Year's Eve. What are you talking about? Team Perp, thank you for the sub. Appreciate the prime. What insurance Wells Fargo? It wasn't Wells Fargo. Did they total it? I mean, that's what they said they were going to do, but I don't know. Like, I honestly don't know where the car is. I don't care where the car is anymore. So
I only care because I want...
The deer stole the car, yeah.
I'm just curious.
Special push-ups? Okay, you have to pick the type of push-ups, though. That's the whole point. Actually, I should be careful. I should be able to do push-ups. I jacked up my back like 4 days ago, but I should be okay. Will it be anywhere near Carowinds? Within driving distance of Carowinds, yes. I've already been to Carowinds before, actually.
I've never been. Aren't you supposed to take me?
Yeah, at some point I'll take you to Carowinds. But yeah, I've been to Carowinds. Just do a normal one? That's super lame. That's super lame. Like, you're gonna redeem 5,000 channel points for a normal push-up? I can do better than that.
Okay, I can't do that.
So yeah, life update is basically all that crap, and we're stuck in North Carolina, My parents are great. Unironically, my parents are great. We have this entire, basically, floor to ourselves, so we don't get a lot of work done. The internet doesn't suck like it used to. Been able to work out and train and catch up on a ton of other projects and things that we've been doing. Yeah, and sleep. And our cat's happy, and so yeah, and we have a house. We just haven't closed on it yet.
Our house is so cute. I love it.
We have a nice house. I'm looking forward to the first stream in the nice house. I think you guys are gonna like it.
We have a dining room, and his mom's like, "Oh, we need to find you guys a table, whatever." And we're like, "It's probably gonna be the gaming room."
Yeah, there's gonna be a little off room. There's no dining room table. There's just gonna be a desk and a streaming setup. Congrats, Nas. Thank you. Do you think I can still go to the gym just as long as I don't use any PVC pipe? Yeah, probably. I mean, I'm not a medical expert, but as long as the thing I've learned with a lot of injuries, most injuries, more to do with joint though, not hernia, is that you should still continue to move as long as it doesn't hurt. So anything that you can do that doesn't hurt it, you want to do it. That being said, I don't know if hernia really falls in that because that's definitely not a joint or a ligament or a muscular injury. So I would definitely do my research. Don't take my word for it. Is it close to Wilmington? Wilmington is like the most southern name I've ever heard in my life.
Wait, Wilmington, North Carolina?
Yeah, I mean,
how do I know what that is?
I don't know.
I mean, wait.
Hey, Kim Sen. Yeah, I hope so too. You gotta go to Wing King Cafe and get the Ming wings. They're delicious. They have great fried green beans. Holy smokes!
I just really wanna.
Yeah. I mean, I've done fried okra before, but wow, that's really that's the next level.
Do I just?
Hey, like, thanks for the sub. 45 months. Holy crap! Hey.
Do you wanna see my POV?
Why? What's going on? Oh my gosh.
Look at her! Look at her!
Mask just buttocks.
Look at
What is
her.
she doing?
She's hiding.
What? What are you doing? My cat is hiding. Look. Mari, what are you doing? What? Being an idiot. Okay. Yeah, so we can do some Ask Philo if you guys want. I missed on a bit of the story. How's come you've moved back to parents? Is everything okay? Yeah, everything's back okay. No, we plan on moving down south. This has been something that we've been wanting to do for like, what, 5 or 6 years?
84 years.
Yeah, so we've been wanting to move back down south for like the last 5 or 6 years, and we just haven't had the opportunity to. Can I say phone for Discord? Because I literally can't do it for Discord. And so it just finally like lined up, and so yeah.
What do you want?
Just Discord.
Yeah, hang on. Which does wait.
When you are from Texas, everything is better fried. Fair enough.
Okay, hang on. Boop. There you go.
Okay. All right, chat. Let's do some Ask Philo. I'm not gonna do a ton of Ask Philo because I do want to get to the Overwatch.
I can read you the questions.
I would rather chainsaw my leg off. So.
Wait, chainsaw your leg off?
So we will do the 3 things from Overwatch 1 to Overwatch 2, but I want to do a little bit of Ask Philo first. Well, there's actually not that much in Ask Philo. Okay, yeah, there's not even that many questions, so we should get through this pretty quickly. Okay.
Can you please shift your camera just a little bit so she stays in frame?
I mean, I
it's
can,
really
yeah.
cracking me up.
If there's gonna be like a little bit more groin cam though, so.
Oh.
Yeah.
Just shift it over to the.
She's too close. That's the problem. Okay. Imdella asks, recommended games to play each day of ranked. Long sessions usually result in losing concentration, and one game just feels too short. It really, this is going to be up to you. Like, it's going to be like how much you enjoy the game, how much you enjoy working hard, how much you enjoy focusing. Personally, I feel like in the last year, I've gotten better at staying concentrated or focused for longer periods of time. That is something you can train. But it's going to really depend on really how much interest you have in Overwatch. Like, if you don't have a lot of fun playing the game, it's going to be hard to stay focused. So then you have to ask yourself the question of why are you playing anyway. I mean, I don't know. One game is definitely too short. I recommend at a bare minimum, even if you're just playing casually but you do want to get better, you're going to want to play at least 3 or 4 games every day of ranked. That's a good ballpark estimate for like bare minimum, but anything less than that and you're going to really struggle. Can a chainsaw cut bone? I'm not really sure. Why don't you come over and we can try. Good to see you again recently. Hey, Sneaky Turtle. It's going well. It's going actually really well. Like, all things considered, it's going okay. No, OnlyFans? No. How do players climb without actually knowing the game? There's so many players who are high ranked who seem to not even know basic things about Overwatch. It doesn't make sense to me as I could have climbed without watching educational content. So this is a really, really, really good question. Basically, the question is there are legitimately pro Overwatch League players, not many, but there are some pro Overwatch League players, and there are a lot of contenders and tier 3 players that really don't understand a lot of the things of Overwatch. A lot of the more advanced things especially. Like, they understand basic, like, you have to position like not a moron, how to use ultimates. But if you ask them to explain it, they would just explain it terribly. And this is why when people ask why players are just being a good player doesn't make you a good coach, well, this is why. So you have to understand the difference between what is known as skill and what is knowledge. And we've talked about this before. So if I were to like divide this into skill and knowledge, right? These things can touch here, they can touch here, and they can touch all the way, right? In other words, I have equal skill and equal knowledge, right? Or I can have a lot of knowledge, but not a lot of skill, maybe just a tiny bit of skill, right? There's only a tiny bit of overlap, right? And this is like me as a coach, right? Where, especially nowadays, where I'm super washed, I know a lot about the game, but I really struggle applying it in game. Now a pro player, might be somewhere along here, or they might even have more skill or more skill than they have knowledge. In other words, they do things, but they don't even understand them, okay? So that's where you kind of have the instinctual kind of play. I do this just because it works. I don't really know why. I haven't really thought about it. I couldn't tell you, but I know it works. I know it's the right way to play. And if I see that, I know it's feeding. Now, you could argue that if you have them sit and think about why it works, they could probably come up with the answer. Oh, of course. I mean, that's why. They have the mental capacity and the knowledge deep down here. Maybe it's not immediately accessible, but they have it deep down enough to be able to access. Oh yeah, that makes sense. But sometimes they do things that they don't even know why they do it. Even if you made them think about it, they wouldn't even be able to come up with the answer. And maybe that's kind of what you're thinking about. Like, I don't even know why that works, but I just do it. And that comes through pure instinct. And a lot of that is just conditioned behavior, right? If I put my finger and a rat trap grabs on my hand, I don't know why the rat trap is there. I don't know what makes it close around my finger, but I'm not going to stop putting my finger there. And you can, and a lot of like in-game skill comes through that. I do thing, bad thing happens. I do good thing happens most of the time. Not always, but most of the time. And you can build skill by responding, reacting, not even consciously to that. Animals do that, right? So when you come to pro players, especially players who are personality-wise not super cerebral, they just tend to read, react, and play the game, you will have times where you have players that are really skilled, but they've never really given it conscious thought. So how do they get there? Well, repetition, 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 and repetition. And just because they're not consciously analyzing the game doesn't mean that they're focused. They're not focused either. You could be focused and not really like analyzing everything. A lot of us tend to think about like being focused means I'm thinking about every action and okay, what do I need to do better? Like whipping out a scientist research book. But it could just be, okay, that happened. All right. And then you're focused back in it. And a lot of players are like that. They're just focused. They don't really think about it, but they're focused on trying to win the next team fight or win the next game or perform better as an individual. So I think that's where you have these players that at some point you get to a point like around Overwatch League where you would benefit or you do need to have more than just instinctual gameplay. You need to, because the game is so much more complicated, it's so much of a higher level, it's very, very unlikely that just instinctual play is going to be able to get you to that level. Even if you are focused, you do have to start thinking a little bit more to learn a little bit more. But that's what happens. Like you have this in every sport, in every game. Players that they've been doing it for so long, with so much repetition, with so much effort, that they've never really sat down and thought about it, but they figured it out along the way. But there's no real way of shortcutting our own learning processes by doing that because they put a lot of time. So unfortunately, there's no real shortcut to it. Okay. But there's nothing unusual about Overwatch in this. There's things, I would say in sports, it's even more likely to be non-cerebral because so much of the sport action is instinctual and physical. Like if you go out and you kick a soccer ball or kick a football, a lot of players will just do it over and over and over again, but they're not thinking about the foot placement. Their body just does it, right? In the same way that mechanics can be instinctual, so many aspects of sports and other things can be instinctual as well. How would you trigger that mindset switch? Which mindset switch? Exactly, Savvy Drone, exactly. I mean, that's what you want. When you're actually in a game, you don't want to be thinking and analyzing. You do want to be fully instinctual. But the problem is that being fully instinctual and only relying on instincts does mean during practice you might not improve as much as you want, which is why I don't necessarily recommend that for players that are looking to improve. Okay. I play on a competitive team, and there's a thing that happens to me a lot. I can't really understand the logic and compositions. I'm the co-captain. I really want to improve and pass confidence to my teammates, but I don't know some things that don't make sense to me. Obviously, the basics I know, but I'm not sure what goes with what. How do you certain things, like how does Zen Mercy work if the heal is too low? Okay, so this is a really good question. Basically, like, how do I start understanding the difference between compositions? And this is something I can relate to because I remember, was it like Stylosa or Jane or one of the very, 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 very first early Overwatch coaches put a lot of emphasis on like compositional matchup, and they would always talk about like, okay, well now you know that you have this, so you should do this. And now I'm looking back on it, I'm not sure how much I think that's good, at least in lower ranks, But it is something that is done and something that I did afterwards. But at the time, I remember thinking, man, how do these guys analyze these compositions? Like, how do they, I mean, it makes sense when they say it to me, but when I look at those, I just see like a bunch of heroes. So how you start is there's a couple of things that you can start with. Like, if I were to ask you guys, just common knowledge, does Ball need a lot of healing? Right? Is Ball a long range hero, short range? Right, okay. Does Reinhardt need a lot of healing? Usually. Is Reinhardt long range? Is Reinhardt short range? Right? What about Winston? What about Zarya? Is Zarya long range, short range? Okay? And really, once you break it down to does this hero need a lot of support? You've done probably 50% of analyzing what supports you should play with the tank. Shut up, Anima. Because like I look at this and people are like, what tanks should I play with Brig Zen? Well, you don't have a lot of healing, so that rules out Reinhardt and mostly Winston. So there we go. Sigma, Hog, Ball, D.Va, even Zarya, you know? I mean, that right there narrows it down to completely eliminates like 2 out of your tanks. Orisa, right? And then another question, like for example, like we're playing double sniper, okay? Well, what support should I play with double sniper? Double snipers are ranged heroes, right? I don't want to say poke or brawl. Screw that. They're ranged heroes. So what healers do better at helping ranged heroes? By helping them do more damage, by helping peel for them. And you start to think about that. Now everyone in Zero is like, oh yeah, Zen and Mercy. But seriously, if you just remove the knowledge that you already have and you think about it, do you think a Hanzo needs speed boost? Do you think Hanzo's going to be a person that's going to be initiating, pushing in? No. You can already remove Lucio from double sniper compositions. Do you think that Moira is going to have a very easy time healing snipers at range or that are on different sides of the map? No, she's going to have a really hard time. So you can already remove Moira Lucio. Now you can think maybe Zen, maybe Mercy. Maybe I can see an Ana being good because she can heal both of their sniper gun. And then BAP, I guess you can aim at them from a long part away, but shift will be hard. And you can start to figure things out, right? You can at least narrow it down. So what I always encourage people to do when you're starting to understand compositions, think about what does the hero want to do? Does it need a lot of healing? Does it like to play range? Does it like to play up close? And then try and build heroes that complement that. If I'm building a Reinhardt composition, I know I want Lucio so that we can get in front of your face. I know that I need another big healer, Moira, Ana, BAP, that can heal a lot, right? I know that I want another tank that also wants to play up close and can help me play up close. That could be D.Va, could be Sigma, could be Zarya, could even be Winston. I know that I want DPS that enjoy being up close too. Reinhardt, Cassidy, I almost said Mei, Torbjorn even. I don't know, and Doomfist. So there's a lot of things, and that helps. That helps. So start when you're looking at compositions. You want to find heroes that complement each other's playstyles generally. There are many exceptions, but once you understand the rule, then you can start to understand the exception. Yeah, D.Va does need a lot of healing compared to the other things. The reason why you play D.Va with Brig Zen sometimes is because sometimes you want extra help for your squishier, more diveable Brig Zen. What about that team was sent in Overwatch League when teams ran Ryan Orisa? Well, the reason why teams ran Ryan Orisa is because at the time, and even to an extent now, Orisa was too strong in close ranges and in long ranges. In other words, you still had very strong Mei, very strong Reaper, things like that. And so teams were utilizing Orisa like another brawl tank. You go in there, you throw your shield, you fortify, nothing could kill you. And you were still doing pressure. Your gun's not as strong as a hammer in close range, but it's something. People were realizing that it's just better. And ironically, Orisa was almost as brawly or just as brawly as Reinhardt. So it was like having two Reinhardts in a way. Not in not in terms of what they actually did, but in terms of play style. You'd have 2 shields, 2 guns, and then people kind of adjusted. Orisa is a pretty good brawl here. An aggressive Orisa actually works. I mean, if you think back to the end of GOATS era, remember the start of 2-2-2? What was the meta? Moira, Doomfist, Sigma, Lucio, and Orisa, right? And Sigma was a really good brawl hero there too, because even though he had ranged poke, he had so much shield, he could play however he wanted. You know? And so Orisa was played like a brawl hero, even though she's more of a spam hero. Because she was able to just basically bend outside of her intended role. I hated that meta. The Doom Reaper and Maya stuff, hated that. Very, very boring. Hoam asked, am I supposed to be able to react to shatters and block them as a running player? I can never react in time. It's costing more games, I'd like to admit. What's your opinion? Okay, so first thing with blocking shatters, number 1, my answer is always going to be practice, 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 practice. The number 2 answer is, and the biggest, actually, chat. Can chat answer this one? I've answered this kind of question before. How do you block a shatter? How do you eat a Bionade as Diva? How do you react to EMP as Zenyatta? How do you do it, chat? Exactly. Yeah, you guys nailed it. You need to know it's there for you to react. If you don't know it's there, it's significantly harder to anticipate it. Yep. So literally my biggest tip to blocking shatter is to track it and to expect it. You need to understand, like, when the enemy Rein has shatter, I mean, you know it. That's really most of what he's thinking about. Anticipation significantly simplifies the actual process of your brain reacting to it. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to jump to a question in chat just for a second. First time catching a stream live. Love your coaching mentality and the way you lay things out. Thank you. Your encouragement of questioning everything you do and how you can do is about me to take my Baptiste from bronze to almost plat. Congratulations. In just over 2 weeks and only a few games a day. Hey, congratulations. Good work. I'm glad I could help, but honestly, and it's the same with, I mean, really honestly, 90% of that is you. So congratulations to you. All I can do is help you to think about things in a different way, and hopefully you can go off and do things with it. But especially because I'm not actually working with you one-on-one, I don't get a lot of the credit. So congratulations. Even in teams, the coach's most important job is to get the players working and to get the players standing out and doing things on their own. Okay, Blocks RZ. Only a few more questions. We'll do a few more questions. I've been trying to coach my best friend for well more than 2 years in Overwatch in all different types of roles. Now he's chosen the main tank. The way he plays is very odd for a plat, low, gold, and silver player. He does some insanely good stuff and then does some insanely bronze-like stuff. My question is, do you have any tips on how to coach very inconsistent and random players? Well, I like to kind of look at this as something like a limit testing player. And he or she might not be limit testing on purpose. It's just kind of like they're just doing it because it's fun and goofy. And that's fine. So the first thing I would say is the first little red flag in your question is that you've been trying to coach them for well over 2 years in Overwatch, and they've chosen main tank. They've just now chosen a role that they've enjoyed, and or have just decided that I'm going to be a main tank now. So first off, they seem a little flighty, and they seem like they're not super interested in improving. And that's just my honest answer. And I hate to be like that, but I think it's really important that we frame the question within the context of how you're asking it and the person that you're asking it about. Because this person doesn't seem super serious about improving. And that's fine. It's just a game. It doesn't matter. So I would manage my expectations accordingly. Especially when you're describing what this player is doing. It seems like this player is just doing stuff because it's fun and doesn't care that much about improvement. They're just doing it because it's fun. The inconsistency is going to result from going for these high risk, high reward plays, just because if it pops off, it's going to feel amazing. If it doesn't, I don't really care that much, so it doesn't matter. So I'll answer the question as if this person is serious about improving, but I'm extremely skeptical of that. So what I would basically say is just like they're pushing a limit testing playstyle, and that's good. Probably means that they are trying out different things to see if they're working. All I would do is I would say every single time something fails or every single time something succeeds, you need to ask yourself why. You need to ask yourself why it failed, why did it succeed? Like, what were the surrounding, okay, why did that fail? Why did it succeed? A lot of times, one of the biggest things that cracks me up is a lot of times when players pop off in lower ranks and they don't really realize it, generally comes down to timing. And when it flops hilariously, it generally comes down to also timing. So that's a big one I look at. Like a lot of times, like, man, I killed 6. How did that happen? Bro, my team is throwing. I'm carrying, right? And they miss the fact that the Reinhardt just shifted into the middle of the enemy team and drew like all the attention on himself, and that set up him, killing 6, right? That happens a lot. And a Reinhardt will, like, on a separate note, a Reinhardt will pin in, in the middle of the enemy backline, like, where's my team? My team's not supporting me. And, they're in spawn. Or he'll pin in and he'll shatter 6 and kill everybody. Man, I'm so amazing. Not realizing that he got Zarya bubble, and at the same time, his Doomfist was punching backline, so nobody was looking at him. So yeah, the really thing is, like, I would have the player kind of think about why it's not working, why it is working, kind of like figure out like what is an overarching case. Not, oh, I hit the pin, that's why it worked, but like why did it actually work? Was the timing good? Was it a good plan? What was the enemy composition? And then again, I'm not really sure this is going to be super useful because the person you're talking about doesn't seem like they're going to be super cerebral and super serious about improvement anyway. But yeah. Backbone, thank you for the sub. Also, your mom, Backbone. Yeah, that Baron of Goo, it's true, it's true. So like let's put it this way, the oxymoron paradox about head coaching is that you need to have a lot of good game knowledge to kind of get into that position, and you do need game knowledge to execute your job off and on. My cat's ear, by the way, in the lower right corner. But really the majority of your work is not like player knowledge related, I would say. She's about to pounce my computer. But do you guys see her? Yeah, that's funny. Okay, yeah. What creates the large skill gap from high elo players and owl level players? Honestly, just raw skill. Like high elo players, I would say like 4.4, 4.5. There is a big gap mechanically between like a 4.4 player and a 4.6 player, or a 4.7 player nowadays. It's a pretty big gap. I would say going from 4.4 to 4.7 is probably about a 500 to 600 SR gap elsewhere. Like it's a lot harder to win games. The SR range, so it looks only like 300 SR, but it's more like 500 or 600 SR. There's a big knowledge gap usually. There's a big positioning gap usually. There's a big matchup knowledge gap. Like this is how I beat a Doomfist as a Zenyatta. There's a mechanical gap. There's just a lot of things. Okay, let's jump on to the next question. SwiftMind Gaming asks, hey, love your YouTube videos and decided to join the server to ask a question. So I mainly play Hanzo Cassidy for the most part. It's a pretty good hero pool. I'm kind of stuck in gold for a while now and find myself dying a lot, being way out in the open and getting tilted towards my teammates. What can I do to control my very aggressive approaches to fights and always be relaxed and focus on myself rather than what the team is doing? So it's a very open-ended question, and it's a lot of questions at once. So you're talking about like being out in the open and blaming your teammates and getting frustrated with your teammates. Like this is a lot of the reason why I've recommended turning off voice chat. It's not just because usually the voice chat communication is unhelpful, but it can honestly be a little bit distracting because it always gives you information about what your teammates are doing, which is helpful until it turns into a negative. And it very often turns into a negative. Think about it this way. When we're talking about, let me think of a good analogy here. Let's say that you're a teacher at school, okay? And you're looking for feedback on how to teach better. You would not ask the kindergartners or the first graders. I would be interested to know what the high schoolers thought. Now, the high schoolers are going to give you some bad information. They're going to give you some misguided information. They're going to give you some maliciously bad information. They're going to give you some self-centered information. But they're close enough to adulthood to where they will have a reasonable take on maybe some things that you could be doing better, and you can kind of filter in at the good and the bad. The problem with kindergartners and first graders is that they not only don't know what information is good, they're just going to be focused on themselves, and they don't really know what is good and bad information. They're just going to spit everything out. That's the problem with lower rank communication. It's not always bad, but it almost always is bad, and it's actively distracting to what you should be trying to do usually. So what I would worry about is I would worry more about like going to every game on Cassidy or Hanzo, and before the doors even open, and I'm talking about legitimately before the spawn doors open, you already know what you're going to aim for in that next team fight. I'm going to aim for, because you're talking about like, oh, I get distracted by my teammates feeding and like I'm out in the open. Well, the goal is like, don't wait for the game to start to have a direction. You should already have a direction before the game even goes in. I'm going to actively work at this. I'm going to work at this. I'm going to focus on this. I'm going to really, really try and look at the enemy team composition and adjust my playstyle. I'm really going to focus on finding a corner and just sitting and stay. I will always have cover. Always. No exceptions this game. This team. Not forever, but this team fight. And I'm going to work really, really hard at, making sure that I'm thinking about my ultimates. And like, we talked about this. This isn't new information. Always having a game plan, always having a point of improvement. But it's really important that you have that like going into, if you're getting distracted by your teammates and this and that, it's probably because you aren't focused to begin with. That's always a red flag to me. If you're thinking about your teammates and you're doing this and you're feeding, okay, don't say, I'm not going to say don't get tilted at your teammates. Don't feed. What I'm going to say is a positive reframing by saying, instead of focusing on what not to do, focus instead on what you need to do. Because it's really, really easy for me to say, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. And then you're like, okay, well, what do I do instead? Well, do this instead. Do this instead. It's like, isn't that a famous, that's a famous way of like dealing with addiction. It's not about not doing drugs, it's about doing this instead. Because your body needs that. Your mind needs something to latch onto, to focus on. And the other nice thing about this, and I've realized this, so I play a lot of flag football. I haven't recently with the move and stuff, but I play a lot of flag football, American football. And there were a lot of games where I get frustrated because nobody would throw the ball at me, even though I'd be, I'm open, what's going on? What's going on? So recently, I put a lot of effort into working on my pass routes. The routes I'm running, like run a post route and then cut here and then do this and try and get open so the quarterback will throw you the ball, right? I put a lot of effort on the footwork and things like that, okay? And by putting a lot of effort on that, not only have I gotten better, but it's actually made the bad games where I don't get thrown the ball at all totally fine. Because I'm having so much fun focusing on doing this, it keeps me engaged. It keeps me engaged elsewhere, and I have a good time. And so even if the result is bad, I'm still like, man, that was good. I really felt solid about that. Overwatch is a frustrating game. If you're not like actively trying to focus on a specific aspect, you are very vulnerable to getting frustrated over losses. Losing in Overwatch sucks. I don't know what it is about Overwatch compared to other video games, but losing in Overwatch is probably the most frustrating losing experience I've ever had in a video game. So if you're not actively, constructively distracting yourself by giving yourself other goals, you're gonna lose your mind. So that was a little bit of a tangent, but I hope that kind of sort of answers the question. It's too hard to answer questions like that accurately because I need to actually get to know you first, and I just honestly don't have the capability. It's not about doing drugs, it's about doing murder instead, exactly. Okay, been trying to master Baptiste kit for a long time now, but I'm still unsure how to use this shift nowadays. It used to be optimal to use when the team was starting to take damage, but then I got nerfed. Now I tend to use it selfishly, but I'm not sure if it's the right decision. It's a bit of a mixture of both. It's a mixture of both. It is good to AoE heal your team mid-team fight, even though it's only 75 healing. That chip healing does go a long way, and if it allows you to not turn your gun off of the center focus, that can help. In other words, if we're in the middle of a team fight and I shift, if my Zenyatta is getting that passive heal, and that prevents me from having to pivot my crosshair over and shoot like multiple shots at my Zenyatta's feet, that allows me to continue to focus my offensive pressure forward, and also my defensive healing pressure on my tank line, right? So shift is something you do want to use a little more selfishly than you have before. I'm very famous. Not very famous, but more famous for kind of talking about that. But it is something that you can use for your team mid-team fight to allow yourself to focus forward. Because if you have to stop to heal heal this, and heal this, and heal this, yeah, that means you still have shift if you ever get dove, but it also means that you lost a lot of damage pressure forward and maybe healing pressure on your front tank. So it's a balance. It's a balance. You seem to kind of have a good idea of like what you need to be looking for. I'm just kind of confirming it needs to be somewhere in between. Yeah, exactly, Baggins. Exactly, Baggins. Exactly. What is the optimal way to kill D.Va? I don't know. Bait Matrix, shooter. Try and avoid using your cooldowns early on in the engagement because she's probably going to have a lot of Matrix, more likely to eat your cooldowns, whether that's Sleep Dart or Stickies or whatever. Flashbang. I don't know. It's kind of a weird question. When and when not to play the Zen Brig duo. Zen Brig is good if you have decent sightlines. It can get countered by compositions that can run it over. So if like there's like a Winston dive composition that can just dive onto your backline and just run on top of you instantly because you're so close to them. That's obviously not great. Like it's hard to play Zen Brig into like a full Winston dive comp if it's a really short sightline map, right? Because the Winston gets on top of your Zen Brig either with a Zarya bubble and he has like a Sombra cutting or a Tracer on an angle. The Zen Brig's gonna have a hard time surviving. The only way Zen Brig beats Winston is by not really letting him dive you, either by whip shotting him away or by spamming him out with Discord or with a pocketed Tracer before he even gets there. So longer sightlines for sure, compared to most compositions. And you need to find a way to, now if you're playing it to like Orisa Sigma double sniper with a Bat Zen, you would probably actually want to get a little closer because you have the Brig Flail and the Brig Inspire. But against most compositions, you do need a little bit of spam, like a Ryan comp, a Winston comp, things like that. You want a little bit of range to take your fights. Hey Lucky, is this a yoga stream? You wish. Please ignore Cager, more X. Absolutely. Ignoring Cager is not a command that I even need to be given. It's just an automatic response to waking up and so on. Or what makes you feel like there's no value at all in a lost match? Exactly. There is value in a lost match though, of course, and that's like the goal is to kind of embrace that and to get value out of it. But it does feel ugly, yeah. You can you misread the D.Va question. It was get kills as D.Va. Oh. Get kills as D.Va, hold an angle. Find a good position, timing, hold an angle. I mean, Cage's video does do a pretty good job of answering that one. I watched that short. Hey, Padawi. Good to see you, mate. If you can share thoughts on it at all, how often do you think single players carry a fight in Overwatch League contenders versus them being put in a position of offensive assembly part of the plan? Basically, how much do you think was intentional setup versus recognizing opportunity of aligned stars, so to speak? I would say it depends on the team. There's a lot of teams that kind of revolve around letting certain players pop off and playing around what they want to do. But yeah, most of it is more of a team-reliant thing. Like, this is the ultimate that we want to use. But also, in Overwatch League, there is and should be a lot of discussion around this is the ultimate, this is how I want to use it, and set it up as such. So it becomes kind of like a hybrid of this player is wanting to do this, and then everybody else is consciously looking to help them set it up. Posture check, you're killing me, bro. Hello, everybody. Yeah, it's a mixture. It's a mixture. That's such a cop-out answer, but it's just the truth. A Pelican winning a fight versus Squad. I mean, absolutely. There are times where it's literally just some player just pops off. Like they get minimal support or something goes terribly wrong and they just pop off. Like I'm thinking of what was it? Not Pelican. Iris, I think that's how you pronounce his name for Atlanta. Did that? I think it was that flank window on Havana. That's just a pop off. That's an instinctual, in the moment, mechanical pop off. There's just no way of rephrasing it. Hey, I say the word Iris and Natter just materializes. Happy New Year, Natter. Natter coached Iris. I got a question. Just want to know how you got your style for coaching. Struggling finding one myself. I feel like I have a game knowledge to hit 4K, play in 4K, but struggle teaching it effectively without rambling for a while. Don't steal my coaching style. Get inspiration from my coaching style. Like I've been inspired by a trillion other coaches, but don't steal my coaching style. Think about how honestly, okay. So this is the sad thing about being a coach, okay? There's just no shortcuts. It's the same thing as playing. You need repetition. I remember distinctly there was a Coach Sexy, Seksy. You guys might remember him. He was featured on a stream a little while back. He has a whole Overwatch coaching series. And one of his coaching videos talked about how you needed a coaching philosophy and a way you did things. And I distinctly remember being, oh, yeah, that's what I need. Yeah, absolutely, okay. And I remember this was like 3 years ago. And I remember I sat down and I was like, all right, my philosophy is this and this and I want this. And I just never really happened. Like I was still figuring things out and learning, and I didn't know as much about the game and like how I communicated. And so it was honestly kind of a little bit of a waste of time. I don't regret doing it, but it did feel a little bit like a waste of time. I didn't really know what my coaching style was. It just kind of was a coaching thing, And I was always changing. Some teams I'd be like louder, but I also felt a little uncomfortable, and then it really just took years of practice and a lot of practice to get to the point where I really understood this is how I like coaching. This is how I enjoy coaching. This is how I do things. This is my philosophy. This is how I communicate with players. And that's sadly something that you just kind of have to rep out. I would definitely take a time to think about how do I communicate? What are some things I can do better as a communicator? What are some things I can do better as a coach? And what naturally feels good? Think of a time when you were coaching where it felt really natural or more natural. What were you doing? Were you tough? Were you kind of quiet? Were you asking a lot of questions? Were you visually explaining things? And try and build around that, build off of that if you can. But honestly, it just takes time. It takes a long time. It takes a long time to be able to find out. It took me years. I would say my coaching philosophy didn't really fully mature, and it's still not fully matured, but it didn't really reach a point where I was comfortable saying I even had a coaching philosophy up until just after or during Sheer Cold, which was just about a year ago. Yeah, you have to make adjustments per person, per coach. Yeah, sure. But yeah, my coaching style has been something in development from the age of 0. I'm the oldest kid, so I was always a little bossier, a little louder. There was times when I coached gymnastics with children. I worked a lot with kids, and so I've always had a sense of humor with how I do things. A little bit over the top. I'm always a little over the top, almost like a caricature. Not always to this extent, but even when I'm coaching teams, I am a little animated. They're trying to think of every little thing here. Coaching MMA, again, adults, kids. My goal with MMA was always to be fun and exciting, but I'd always try and focus the fundamentals, the basic, the most important thing. This is the really key. This is the most important thing, and that's carried over into Overwatch as well. So it's fundamentals, caricature, bossy, loud, and then during the Uprising Academy fiasco, Sheer Cold, I spent a lot of time focusing on. I learned a lot about how important it is to have players taking leadership, enabling players to be kind of controlling things and leading things. And then with London, it was about pushing through adversity, finding and encouraging players to step up. And so you kind of have an amalgamation of all my experiences kind of creating and shifting and shaping and kind of what I am now, which is charismatic, loud, player empowerment, humor, asking a lot of questions. I don't know how you split that down, but you kind of see what I'm saying. And that's just taking a lot of time. And even streaming, streaming has been a very, even the roast style streaming. That's not something that I really do, but I am very blunt and straight, usually fairly straightforward with my coaching style. Yeah. But it's something I can almost break it down like it did there, to a lot of different experiences. Whatever happened to Cinder? So Cinder just plays other games now. So I still hang out with Cinder. I still play Overwatch occasionally with Cinder. I still talk with Cinder and Cinder's parents. I just don't do the videos as much. If I spend time with Cinder, I usually just play with her, talk with her, and hang out with her. But I don't do the video things as much. But she's still around. Let's do. So I already answered that style. So the one from SCH, I did that one. I'll check mark that one myself. Let me see here. How can I make plans? I'm trying to just decide how do we do this one. Let's take a break. Maybe we'll come back and do the last couple of Ask Spilos later, but I want us to take a break here and go over the thing that we're talking about. So you guys patiently waiting around the 3 things from Overwatch 1 to Overwatch 2. Now, I've thought about this a lot. I don't really have a structure for this. I'm just going to kind of go. But I do expect myself to be interrupted a lot. So if you guys do have questions or statements or you disagree, please say so in chat. I have been able to actually kind of read chat as we're going along, surprisingly. So, yeah, so let's go. So, to be honest with you guys, and I don't think I'm leaking anything here, we've not been able to play Overwatch 2 yet. So all of this information, none of it is going to be from playing with Overwatch 2. It's just like Overwatch 1 in this aspect. We still haven't played Overwatch 2. I don't know when we're going to be able to play Overwatch 2. It's a little tough. That being said, the things that I'm going to give to you are not, it doesn't matter really what they do with Overwatch 2 unless they literally completely change the entire structure of the entire game, which I don't think they will. A lot of these things are going to be the same regardless. It doesn't matter what they do. Okay? So, 3 things. Number 1, 3 things that Overwatch 1 that are going to carry over to Overwatch 2. If you want to get good at Overwatch 2, your mentality. I don't even know if you guys can read this. It's my handwriting, so definitely not. And it's shaky surface, so it's bad as it is, okay? So mentality, okay? So what do I mean by mentality? All right? So we talked about something earlier in the video, and it was the mentality of how I was playing flag football and how even in games when I wasn't catching the ball and was not throwing the ball and or wasn't playing well, every single time I lined up, when I was running my pass pattern route or playing defense, I had something specific to work on. Conscious improvement. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Questioning everything, thinking about everything, practicing everything. Everything is a learning experience. I don't go on autopilot. And that is essentially a completely unrealistic and unattainable goal, but it's something that you want to aim for. It's something that you want to aim for. When you load into Overwatch 2 for the first time, you should be looking to figure out and experiment with everything. Play every hero, play every map, try this, try that, push your limits, die a lot, fail a lot, misuse your ultimate, think, ooh, wait a second, what if I try? Do that a lot. And that kind of mindset is something, willingness to take risks because you're not afraid of losing, you're not afraid of messing up, is going to help be how you improve significantly faster. It takes a lot of confidence, self-confidence to be able to do that because obviously it does mean that you're going to lose some games. It does mean that you're going to have a couple of negative experiences. But in the long run, it is the better thing to do. Some of the most I've ever learned from things is like being willing to put myself in difficult circumstances just to see what I could learn from it. Like the London thing, right? Like that I knew what I was getting into. I knew it was a burning ship, right? Players not in LAN, not the most talented team that was struggling already as it was. But I learned a ton from that. And it's going to be about being willing to put yourself in those exact same kind of circumstances and treating every single game, every single team fight as winnable and learnable. You can learn something from it. What am I going to learn? What am I going to practice? Not just what am I going to learn, but what am I actually going to practice too? Because that's the other thing too, is I know a lot of people, myself included, who tend to learn a lot, but then they struggle in application. You need to be practicing. Like when you go into a team fight, what am I training? What am I practicing? Is it a new cooldown usage? Why did I die the previous team fight? What can I do better next team fight? how did we fail the previous team? What did I do well? Doorbell rings. You need to figure that stuff out. You need to figure stuff out. League scrim VODs? I don't have any scrim VODs. There's no Overwatch League. There's no Overwatch League team right now that's scrimmaging Overwatch League. It's not out. They don't even have an alpha version that we're able to play. So that's the mentality. And by the way, this kind of stuff, this is the reason why I hammer on this so many times, is because it's everything in life needs this. Anything, sports, relationships, it's about looking to do what can I do better. Imagine how much better your relationship with your significant other would be if you thought about, like, what can I do better today? Every day. Think about that. You know? My family makes fun of me because I am like obsessive about getting better at everything I do. I'm a very competitive person, not just about like winning, but like I'm always trying to figure stuff out. I'm gonna pat myself on the back here. I won 14 board games in a row, like last week. Anyway, we won't talk about that. But it's about being willing to not win so that you can improve. By the way, we don't do this so that we can win in the future. The goal shouldn't be, I'm gonna focus on improvement so I can win. The goal should be improvement for the sake of improvement, because that's what's really fun to me. Legitimately. If you're playing Overwatch because you really want to climb to plat, you're gimping yourself. If you're playing Overwatch because you really want to get better at Overwatch and you enjoy playing Overwatch, then the sky's the limit, essentially, there. Because you can always get better. There is no limit. There is no, I arrived. There is no arrive. You just keep going and going and going. Playing perfectly isn't good enough. You gotta improvise and figure something else out. Yeah. Okay, so, mentality. Everything. Okay? If you can't get out of plat, then the problem is not your coach. The problem is you. So you need to sit right now and you need to think not about your aim, not about, your positioning. What are you doing right now that's stopping you from improving? How much do you play every day? What kind of mindset do you go into and play? Do you tilt? Are you actively trying to get better, or are you just trying to win? Because the fact that you're trying to get out of plat is already, like we just said, is already a problem. Is you should be thinking about what's stopping me from getting better. If I asked you, Sergeant Raid, have you gotten better in the last month and a half, 2 months? How would you be able to answer that? Have you gotten significantly better? I don't care how much you play. How much do you focus, effort, specific aspects of your gameplay? How many heroes do you play? Are you spreading yourself too thin? How much sleep do you get? How focused are you in every single game that you play? Yeah, so if you're getting lost when the team fight starts, before the team fight starts, you already need to know what you're doing. Before you even, we talked about this not long ago, before you even load into the video game, turn on your computer, you need to know what you're doing that day. So, this is what we're talking about. Because if you go into a game and you're just playing for the sake of playing, then it's going to be easier to plateau because not everything that you're doing could constructively be in helping you to improve. I really think that you need to work on your goal setting and the way your whole mindset with improving. Unfortunately, that's not necessarily going to be a key for you. I'm not going to be like, oh, thank you, Smile, brilliant, I'm going to climb the diamond now. I don't know. But you need to start figuring it out because the problem is you. You need to be self-reflective. You need to be self-reflective with what you're doing wrong and what you need to be doing better. And I don't just mean in-game. I mean before the game even starts. What kind of mindset are you in? How do you train? How do you play? Are you getting enough sleep? Are you focused? Are you focused on improvement? What are you focused on for improvement? And so on. Okay, staying on topic here. Mentality. Everything. And by the way, chat, this is going to be coincidentally discouraging and encouraging, okay? Because mentality is very important. It's key. Now, what's discouraging about it, you can't even read, is that it's a skill. It's when you watch this video, you're not going to be able to turn off the stream, walk away, and all of a sudden my mentality is better. It's not. It might be 5% better temporarily. Mentality takes practice. It is the most important skill that you can practice. So you need to train your mentality. You need to set timers. Okay, check my mentality. Am I focused? Am I working on improvement around everything? Am I? Oh, did I carry too much about that loss? You know, this is why when we did the it was the challenge of the week, which by the way I've fallen off on those. I apologize. Remember when we did the one challenge of the week, which was I challenged you guys to end on a loss. To end on a loss. To end your Overwatch training on a loss. To see how you felt. And that was a real hard one for a lot of you guys. I want you to sit and think about why I would want you to end on a loss. Practice ending on a loss. Why would that be good? For some of you guys. Think about that. So I'm not going to dwell on this too much longer. Mentality is everything. Work on mentality. Practice your mentality. Again and again and again. Not just with Overwatch, but with everything that you do. Okay? Second thing for Overwatch 1 to Overwatch 2. Puts you in a comfortable mental state? Yeah. Forces self-reflection? Absolutely. It forces you to go, that was a negative external outcome, but I'm going to train myself so that you have to expose yourself to these negative outcomes over and over again, and then continue to go in the next day and think of, and train again. You don't want to reward yourself. Oh, I ended on a good note. I won. Do you see the problem with that statement? I won, therefore it's a good note, and I will end on that. Do you kind of see the problem with that? Okay. Second thing with Overwatch 1 to Overwatch 2. It's going to be positioning, okay? I'm not going to even write it because you guys can't see it anyway. Positioning, not even I improved, as in I correctly did what I needed to do. I worked, improved, I focused on this, good job, move on from there. Okay, positioning. So, if you have played any of Halo Infinite, if you have played Apex Legends, Valorant, CSGO, any of these first-person shooters, okay? Positioning, I don't know enough about those games to be able to directly compare them in terms of hierarchy of positioning. I feel like something like CSGO positioning is probably even more important than Overwatch, but it's important. It doesn't matter what first-person shooter you're playing, it's important. In fact, it's arguably important for most games, MOBAs, things like that as well, okay? Positioning is crucial. Now, by the way, this is not necessarily a hierarchy. Positioning I might put as third most important, but we're just going to go down the list, okay? And the way of positioning is I'm not going to teach you guys how to position properly. It's just really going to boil it down to two things, okay? But really, maybe we'll add a third thing at the end there. Number one is like you always need to have cover of some type. Like the goal of tank, DPS, heals, please be near cover. Be within, what is IOStux calls it, like the 0.4 second rule, 0.5 second rule. Like within half a second, you can be completely invisible to the enemy team. You cannot take any more damage. Positioning does not cut down always unnecessarily on the damage coming in, so much as it cut down on the ability for the enemy team to finish the kill. If I'm a Reinhardt standing near a corner, I'm still taking damage. But it's that when my HP drops to 150, I can then prevent them from finishing that kill. I played a lot of Halo Infinite. You would be shocked at how many team fights, one-on-ones, 1v2s, big team battle games I won simply because I had a flipping corner next to me. It's so important. So important. So important. Cover, 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 cover. Second thing is going to be playing, and this is one I don't think people think about enough. My laptop just shut off. Poggers. Is range, okay? And what I mean by range is I don't mean always play at a long range. I mean think about what weapon or what hero that you have and say, what range do I want to be playing at? Widowmaker versus Tracer versus Reaper versus Roadhog versus Reinhardt versus Orisa. You kind of see what I'm saying? A lot of coaches and players get sucked into this brawl versus spam versus the... It's not about that. It's about what hero has gun long, what hero no have gun or gun short. And that's really how you want to position around that. You want to find the corner that is close to a choke as Reinhardt. You want to find the corner that is further from a choke as Orisa. And these are very general principles. They're not always 100% true, but they're very big guidelines. And that will help you position. If you're a Zenyatta versus a Moira, how does that affect how you position? You kind of see what I'm saying? You want to be closer as Moira to your enemies / your friends. As Zenyatta, you can be further away in your cover. And again, there's always a lot of exceptions. But I see this, again, I really like Halo Infinite. I don't really like the whole skin and pay to win for like the visuals, and the servers are disastrous. But the actual game reminds me a lot of Overwatch because you have a lot of different weapons that all function in completely different ways. You have like the Needler, very, very, very just awful at medium long range. Just literally, like you might as well just be, like meleeing the air. It's terrible. But up close, it's okay, right? You have the Sniper, which is extremely powerful at long range, but kind of a little tricky to use in close range. It's not the best example. Sniper is actually okay at close range. The BR, right? A lot of flexibility. That's what makes that gun so strong, is it's not really bad at any ranges. You have like, I can go on. You guys will have to enjoy that game if you haven't played it already. But there's a trillion different weapons, like 15, 16 weapons probably. And they all have different strengths and weaknesses. And you need to position around those strengths and weaknesses. Same thing with Overwatch 1 going into Overwatch 2. You're going to have hopefully some new heroes, but if not, old heroes, and maybe old heroes that have different weapons or different ranges or different cooldowns. And you need to position around that. And it's not just about the weapon either. Think about a hero like Genji. How does a Genji want to position? Remove shurikens. How does a Genji want to position? What does he have in his toolkit that affects how he might want to position? Take a second to think about it. Genji is like just the easiest low-hanging fruit, but there's a lot of things. Wall climb, right, exactly, wall climb, double jump. So you have the opportunity to position with high ground. Why do you want to position with high ground? Well, more angles, better vision, and it's something that a lot of the enemy team cannot access. They don't have the mobility that you can, so they can't do it. Why else do you want to position on high ground? Well, it's another escape route if things go poorly. Dash, right, another dash, again, short to medium range skill. Right? So that should affect how you position. So you really break down every hero to their abilities and their weapons, and you think, how do I want to position around those? Strongly recommend that. Okay. So the last thing I would say with positioning as well is, I would say either risk / self-sufficiency. If I'm a soldier, I want to position it like medium long range, near cover, right? But do I play with my team or do I play completely in the enemy's backline? Generally, the deeper of an angle that you are, the more greedy it's considered and the more risky it is. But if you're a soldier, you have a healing station and you have sprint, so you can go greedier, right? Unless the enemy team has a Tracer or a Ball, then they can hunt you down. You kind of see what I'm saying? So you need to kind of evaluate the hero that you're playing and what the enemy team is playing and be like, how greedy can I play? How deep of an angle can I play, right? Like if you think about like a McCree, or a Cassidy. Cassidy can go in hard flanks, but he doesn't want to if they got like a Tracer. You kind of see what I'm saying? Or a diva might make things really, really. But if they don't, right, then you can go hard flank. It doesn't matter if you don't have mobility. You have long range, then they don't have anything to chase you down and kill you. So that would be the third aspect of positioning going into Overwatch 2. Look at the hero that you're playing. Think about how greedy of an angle can I play, and is there anything on the enemy team that will punish me? And then adjust accordingly. Now that's the third on the positioning because that's a little bit tricky, right? That's a little bit hard to put your finger on. It's going to take practice. It's going to take time. You can have like a hard flanking Reinhardt with Earthshatter, and you're like, how is he getting away with that? It's really hard to figure out when and where that's going to work. I would focus on the cover. I would focus on the playing around your effective range, and then if you feel like you've understood those things, you can move on to the next one. Would Roadhog prevent you from going on deep angles? Not necessarily, but a Roadhog can, right? You would need to avoid a Roadhog. For example, if I'm a soldier, right? You don't want to play near the Roadhog because the Roadhog will find you. That's one of the nice things about playing against a Roadhog is the Roadhog will be on or should be on an angle, but because he is so slow, he might not be able to stop you from taking an angle, right? But that's a good question. Okay, third thing that is 100% going to carry over from Overwatch 1 to Overwatch 2, timing, okay? Timing. And again, this is, again, a very, very broad concept that applies to not just Overwatch, but really any FPS, really any MOBA that I've ever played. And it's about finding teamwork is a way I would look at it. Finding teamwork. When we're outside playing a game, executing a play and a sport, because we're communicating and because we're in there in person, we do stuff usually together, right? Usually, okay? When you're playing an esport or a video game, that disconnect and the tunnel vision that results generally means that oftentimes you don't have the same level of teamwork. And I'm not even saying like we're going to execute this complicated play. Just we go shoot enemy team at the same time. That doesn't happen as much. And so when you're going into a new game, as you're experimenting with what this hero does now, or how to play around the new Sombra or the new Reinhardt or whatever else that they do, everything is going to feel bad if it's done out of sync with your team. Everything. And again, I'm going to pull up a Halo Infinite example. I cannot tell you how many times I wanted to punch a hole through the drywall because I've gotten into a vehicle, I'm going to try and speak in layman's terms, and got in the gunner position, and my driver, at the start of a round, goes flying into the enemy base at full speed right from the get-go with my entire team still in spawn. And there's two of us, and I'm in a vehicle, and I can shoot a lot of people, but there's like 10 of them, and we die instantly. And then, 10 seconds later, I respawn, and I get an actually decent driver, and now our teams are starting to engage. Now we go flying through again, and I'm the gunner again, and we kill like 6. And there's nothing changed. Nothing changed. Outside of the fact that there are a lot of people the enemy have to look at besides just me. Okay? Caveman terms. It doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're doing it by yourself, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. It's a team game. So when you're going into Overwatch 2 and you're playing these new heroes and you're playing these new things, if you're not paying attention to when your tank line is putting pressure, or to when your tank and when your DPS are ready and or putting pressure, or as a support when to go aggressive around your tank line, you're going to have a hard time. You people look at like these aggressive auto players like running in the middle of the enemy team and throwing the nades and like, how do they get away with that? It's always timing, guys. It's always timing. I would say timing is even more important than positioning, because the thing is with good positioning is it sets you up to play the game in a more efficient and more effective manner, whereas timing is literally just playing the game. It's just playing the game properly. Like, think of it as like, would you rather play versus an enemy team that has bad position? Like, would you rather be on a team where everybody had bad positioning but was playing together as 6, or would you rather be on a team that had good positioning but you guys were only fighting like 2 or 3 at a time. You know, like that's the kind of the answer that you have to kind of ask yourself, and the answer is pretty obvious, right? If you're not playing 6v6, you're not playing Overwatch, and you're at a significant disadvantage. And you'd be shocked at how many times this happens. I would go as far to say, even in Grandmaster, even in Overwatch League, bad timing is a factor in the vast majority of why people lose team fights. And it gets more and more advanced and difficult the higher up you go. But yeah, so the reason why I'm bringing up these things is not just to go into the game, you kind of have this knowledge preset, but if you are playing Overwatch right now, Overwatch 1 right now, and you're like, I would love to be able to work on some skills that are going to carry over to Overwatch 2, these are the ones that you need to be practicing. Your mentality, your positioning, and your timing, and these are things you can practice in every single game. I would recommend, again, be specific. Don't work on all of them at the same time. We've talked about that. But all of these are absolutely going to carry over in the next game, the next evolution of the game. And these are things you can start preparing and working on and building skill over right now, because the carryover is going to be essentially 1-to-1. The game might feel better, there might be more distractions, but anything that you build about corner discipline, paying attention to your timing with your teammates, your mentality when it comes to learning new skills, new games, it's going to carry over 100%. So, yes. Okay. Any last questions? I keep looking this direction. I need to be looking this direction. Hey guys. Any last questions? Now would be the time. Hello, Aloe82. Yeah, the phrase, yeah. I don't know what the command is anymore. I have no idea what the command is anymore. But yeah, Happy New Year, guys. I hope everyone's had a really, really good one. Mine was pretty good. It's kind of uneventful. Got to watch a little bit of football, and so that was fun. We'll keep you guys updated with how things are going. Maybe we'll stream again. We'll do some more phone stream stuff. Who knows? I'm not really sure. I will catch up with Aspilo stuff. Part of this will probably go on YouTube. I try and like spread out my YouTube content so it's not like a complete dry zone. But we're moving forward from there. But appreciate everyone for actually chiming in and stopping in. Was not expecting this many people on New Year's Day, because I know everyone's got like a bunch of IRL stuff and family stuff. I know, at least you should. But yeah, I'm trying to see if I missed anything here crazy. I don't think I did. Okay, so the word, yeah, positioning and timing. So I mean, but it's not revolutionary. I know it's boring, but we don't need any like cool tricks or tips. You just need to be good at the fundamentals. And also, I don't have any tips or tricks outside of it anyway, because we don't know what the game is going to look like specifically. We don't know what the game is going to look like specifically. I can only give you the bigger tools that are going to carry over regardless. Okay. Yeah. All right, chat. I will see you guys later. It's been good knowing you guys. I will keep you guys updated through announcements with how things are going. Maybe when we get the new house situated, we'll have some pictures, and or we'll get you like an inside the house stream at some point. But yeah, have a wonderful rest of your New Year. Happy New Year. And I will keep you guys updated with stuff. And I don't know how to end the stream. Oh, love you. Kisses. Wait.